Hi, I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to For the Greater Good with Evelyn R. Richardson, your host. I thank you for joining us today. Today, I have a very special guest, someone that I really appreciate taking her time to be here with us today. And I actually share with her in the responsibility of being a member of the Northeast NRZ. Her name is Miss Helen Nixon, and she has a vast array of background in community work. And I would like to be able to share some of her history and her experiences and her knowledge and wisdom with you all today. So today, I want to say welcome to Miss Helen Nixon.
Okay, thank you, Evelyn, I have to say. I appreciate the introduction for me, okay. It's an honor and a pleasure for me to be here today on your show, okay. I don't believe I ever seen your show before, but I heard so much about it, so today I have an honor, my honor and pleasure to be with you on your show, okay. I have a lot of respect for you, for what you're doing in the community, so when you asked me to come, I was just more than happy to share the little bit of knowledge that I do have with you and our audience.
Well, we appreciate that. So we're going to ask you some questions, Ms. Nixon, and I know that these questions are going to come easy to you because you've been doing this for years, and you share a lot of your wonderful stories and experiences with me in other arenas. So the first question would be, if you could share with us a bit about yourself and the work that you do in the community. As we talked about before, the Northeast NRZ has a nonprofit status that it might still be utilizing. And because of that nonprofit status in Hartford communities, you're a perfect match for our programming because For the Greater Good is getting out in the community to talk to key decision makers and policy setters. And we do know that NRZ legislation certainly came out of policy, and that you were actually one of the forerunners along with others in establishing the Northeast NRZ. So tell us a little bit about yourself and anything that you might want to share with our viewers.
Okay, Evelyn, how do I begin when you said telling you a little bit about myself, okay? Okay, well, as you know who I am, okay, I remember about 50 years ago, okay, I've been living in the Northeast neighborhood for approximately 50 years, okay. So I'm very familiar with this particular neighborhood. I love this neighborhood. For some reason, you know, I could have moved anywhere I wanted to, but for some reason, I decided I want to stay right here in Northeast neighborhood. I'm a realtor, so you know I can go anywhere I want to. So I chose to stay right in North Hartford and the Northeast neighborhood. But about I would say during the early 90s, okay, we first started off with the Northeast Problem Solving Committee.
Interesting.
That's how it started, with the Northeast Problem Solving Committee. All the areas in the city of Hartford was divided into different, just like the NRZ, we had 17 neighborhoods and all of them had their problem solving committee. So after that sort of, you know, went down, we decided that we want to turn our problem solving committee into Northeast NRZ. Okay, so that's how the Northeast NRZ got started back in I think it was 1994 or 1996. So a group of us got together and decided that we wanted to, we loved that idea, okay, and like you said, it did come from legislation, okay. Remember Nick Carbone had a lot to do with, you know, presenting that legislature to the state, and we wanted the first ones that got approved for the North as an NRZ in the city of Hartford. One of the first, okay, I believe was Shelter Oak, and then us, you know, followed them, okay. But we took advantage of that opportunity because, like I said, after living in the city of Hartford all my life just about, it seemed like everything was being dictated from the top down from City Hall. So the NRZ was formed to make sure that we as grassroots people had a lot to do with what's happening in our neighborhood, okay? So that's where the NRZ started from. So now, instead of being dictated from down, you know, from the top down, now we have an opportunity to come together and dictate from the grassroots up, okay? So we tell them tell the city what we want. We get together because we know what we want, okay? But first, I guess I need to let you know that, and I might be sort of jumping ahead of your question, okay? I never go back.
I can just scratch
okay. Okay. What it is, when we decided we're going to form this NRZ, we knew that we had to have a call for people who lives within the this particular area of Northeast NRZ. And I know you want to know who these people are, how did that particular area got formed, what did it started from, there's a particular area, geographical area. And first I need to let you know, people want to know, when you said Northeast, what do you mean by Northeast?
And NRZ, so you can explain that.
Yes, because a lot of people would like to say North Hartford. When North Hartford takes in Blue Hills, Upper Albany, in Northeast, and Clay Hill. So Northeast is just Northeast, and that is the area that runs from the Windsor town line, Hartford-Windsor town line, all the way down to Mill Avenue, the east side, the north side of Mill Avenue, so from north to south. And you go east to, to the railroad track, okay. And then it goes west to Richfield Street on the east side of Richfield Street, because we takes in the whole Keeney Park.
Okay, on the side of the street that Keeney Park is on, not the houses.
Not the houses, just where Keeney Park. So you see, we have one of the largest neighborhoods in the city of Hartford, okay? So we all got together and decided we really want to do something and really, improve that neighborhood. So we formed it, and some of the ones that have formed it was Ella Cromwell, one of our icons, and Truda Miro, Yvonne Alexander, and Max Couture. And Clyde Billerton, he was in our neighborhood at the time. We were the main ones that got it started. And after that got started, it just took off, okay? And I became the first president, and Ella Cromwell was the vice president, Truda Miro, everybody. We worked very hard to get that neighborhood to where it is today.
I'm not going to let you jump too far ahead of me, because I want to hear some more about Miss Cromwell in a minute. So just share with us, what's the vision for the Northeast NRZ? And first, let me say that Northeast, you explained what Northeast mean, what the section that is, and also the NRZ, because some of our viewers might not know what NRZ, the acronym, stands for. So we just want to let you all know that stands for Neighborhood Revitalization Zone, and the different areas are called zones. So that's what that is. So now, the vision. What is the vision of the Northeast NRZ? Okay, our vision was and is to see our neighborhood, one of the best neighborhoods in the city, number one, okay. We believe, because we do have, we didn't have a lot of businesses, the larger businesses like downtown. In fact, our neighborhood had the lowest amount of entities that we could say that could really create economic development. For economic development, we didn't have that. In fact, in our neighborhood, we only had the Hartford Housing Authority. That was the largest entity that we could use, that we could really build on. So we used them a lot, okay. In fact, they became our first fiduciary agency, okay. But our vision was to see this neighborhood as a livable, sustainable neighborhood where everybody, and we wanted to improve the quality of living, the quality of life in the neighborhood, okay? So our first thing was to take a look at our economic development, and just, like I said, we didn't have a lot of that, okay? But what we did, we looked around, got the city and the state and everybody involved. There used to be tour buses that come riding through the neighborhood to see what exactly we needed. So we identified all the housing and the streets and the businesses that we would like to have there. And we started working on that, okay? And our first project that we completed was we got a grant
of $500,000 from the state of Connecticut, okay? I think out of the bonding sources, and we went up and down Capon Street. We repaved that whole street with red brick sidewalk.
Now, how much was that?
We had a grant of $500,000.
Impressive.
Red brick sidewalk and black wrought iron fences. We said that was our very first project, but we got it done. Okay, and we all stuck together, but that was our first project. And then after that, we went on. I don't know if you asked me about the projects that we completed.
I haven't gotten it yet, but you're on the road,
I'm
so
just
I'm gonna
excited
let you go
when I
and
see
share
what
it.
we had done, okay? And after we completed that project, then we went to Main Street, okay? And we did that whole Main Street. We put flags all through the city.
Now, what years were these?
That was, I believe it was during the year, somewhere like 2000, between 2000 and 2005, somewhere like that. Okay. And we redid the whole Main Street, okay? We put the flags all the way through. We did pavement on the street. We put up a big sign at the beginning of Windsor and Hartford line saying welcome to the Northeast neighborhood. Anybody rides up and down and they can see that we did that, okay? And we put better lighting and all of that, okay? So there's a lot of things that we have, you know, been working on and have been trying to improve, yes.
So next, you shared earlier that you answered this question, and that was how long has the Northeast NRZ been in existence? And if I recall correctly, you said since 1994.
Yes, we started.
But it was the problem-solving committee prior to that. And when did that start?
That started, I'm going to say, maybe a little prior to 1994. Okay. We didn't stay with that long before we decided to. That's when new legislation came out for the NRZs. So, and I think most of the neighborhoods switched over from that to this, but I think we was one of the first ones to do that. Okay. At that time, the problem solving we were dealing more with the police.
Okay.
And that.
Because I'm curious, because I hear some of the stories from some of the older generation where they talk about organizations like One Chain and think community-based organizations like that. Back then, did the Northeast community have a particular agency, a civic agency or anything that kind of got outdated once the NRZs came into existence? Or was that was lacking at that time and that's how the problem-solving group was formed?
No, I have to say the problem-solving committee was going on at the same time when these organizations were. Okay. For instance, One Chain, they were very, very active, okay? In fact, when the NRZ started, One Chain was still there, but it just gave them an avenue. They dealt more or less with the social services, all of that part of it, but we worked together a lot. Because remember, the NRZs did not have an organizer, and still today, I don't think they have organizers, okay? So it's good when that community organization was still in existence, okay?
Clarify that for me. The NRZ doesn't have organizers. Can you give me some more detail about that?
No, they did not have organizers because at that time, organization like One Chain was in existence. So we didn't need to. We didn't want to duplicate the effort. Okay, and keep in mind the NRZ's neighborhood revitalization. We name ourselves NARA, Northeast Northeast Neighborhood Revitalization Association, okay? And that was mostly designed to do the structural part of the neighborhood, you know, dealing with the economic development and all of that, okay? So we didn't see any need to have an organizer. Okay. But now, so it has changed. We don't have that organizer, you know, with the One Chain. So it almost, you need an organizer in every neighborhood, okay?
Okay. So you just gave us some history on Northeast NRZ. So, and you also, one of my questions was that I wanted to hear you share about Miss Ella Cromwell. Please give me some more information on who this Miss Ella Cromwell was, because although I've seen her name on a street sign in Hartford, I never really knew who she was or what she meant to the people or to the community, because basically probably during her time, I was too busy trying to party. So can you, for people like myself, can you share with us who this great icon, as you refer to her, is?
She was an icon and still an icon, okay? I mean, she been around since day one, okay? And I have to say that she was my shadow, okay? When she passed, it just took a lot out of me. I just trailed, right along behind her. She really, she was a great politician. Okay. She was a great social worker. She was a great teacher. She was a great counselor. She was a mother to everybody. And she was the one that when she spoke, people moved, okay? Because she really had a good relationship with the community. She was a builder, okay, and she was not a phony. She said what she meant and did what she, meant what she said.
So in what areas of politics did she work?
She was on the Democratic.
Or volunteer?
Yeah, she started off, she used to have me laugh, and she started off as a Republican, okay? And after she found out they didn't do anything for her, and that's when she changed over to Democrats, okay? And she was the one that all the politicians in the city of Hartford went to when they wanted to run for office. She used to have them sitting in her kitchen and she interviewed them. If she didn't like them, she would let them know, I cannot work for you, okay? But that lady was the one who was responsible for putting just about everybody in office that you see. I mean, they're from the governor on down, okay? They all respected her. They came to her house right there at 192 Vine Street. It was 192 Vine Street, and sit in that kitchen, okay? So then, I mean, she was always into politics. She got me into politics. She was the first one that got me on the town committee. I mean, I liked her because she believed in passing the torch, because she had been on that town committee for a long time, and when she when I came into her life, she decided to step down and give me her position. And she just took me by her hand and just carried me on, okay? And
that's the way it should be. You
yes,
don't, pass it and just leave them.
Yes, and I'm going to tell you, when she was on the town committee, she did not just say something. She worked. Everybody around her had to go out and get voters. She went and knocked on every door and made sure that you did it, okay? All the little children on up had to work for getting those votes in. Town committees today don't work. But when she was here, town committees worked, and they listened to, when she spoke, they listened, okay? So that was the type of person that she was. And then later on, she got involved more so with the, she stayed in politics, but she really got involved with the building community, infrastructure and all that. Okay. She was with the NRZ from beginning until the day she passed.
Okay, so she was a part of the Capon Street.
Yes, from the beginning.
Okay,
yes.
And the Main Street revitalization.
Yes, she did that from the beginning.
Okay, wonderful. What schools did she teach at?
She was not a teacher.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so when you refer to teacher, you just meant she
taught
people.
She taught, yeah. You would think that she was a teacher. She knew everything, okay?
Because I'm trying to, I was trying to place where I might have met her and didn't know who she was.
No.
So if she worked in the school, then I would have said, oh, okay.
She worked in, she never was a teacher. She might, every PTA meeting she was there, whether she had children there or not. Just every meeting there was that one. She's something like you, Evelyn. You were like that too, okay? Every time I turn around, you at a different meeting. But she was the same way. And I can appreciate you being that way, okay? But she was the same way. She made sure that she was involved in everything in her neighborhood. She loved the Northeast neighborhood.
Wonderful. Okay? She sounded like a wonderful woman. Okay. So when the NRZ legislation was passed, how did it impact our community as the Northeast? Would you say that you shared that it was a problem-solving committee first, and that was more directly relating communications with the police department. So I'm trying to ask, once the NRZ was identified as more of an economic development and a revitalization cause, were there any drastic changes, disadvantages, or advantages in what you were doing at the time the legislation passed, or what people were doing prior? I think I heard you answer that question in the form of saying that the community wasn't really organizing around doing those type of things prior to the legislation. So the legislation is what gave the community the hand up to be able to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying, that the legislation, when it was passed, it gave us in the community an opportunity to say what we want and made sure that we got what we want, because before that, it was a lot of dictation we didn't think we had the power. We didn't realize we had that much power that we could, demand what we want from the bottom up instead of it coming from the top down. And when we really got involved in the organization, we were able to go downtown and say to them what we need, what they want. We did not just sit at the table planning what we want by ourselves. Let's say you have an economic development department, got a housing department and all that. They could not just sit downtown and make the plans for us. They had to come to our meeting. We tell them what we want, and they listen to what we say. Well, we're going to work together. And when you come to a meeting, you don't just come to a meeting just to say what you have done, what you come to offer us. You come to tell us, to bring us the information that we ask you to bring, and tell us what you have done to work on what we said we want.
So, and I asked that this way because I'm happy to hear that from the Northeast NRZ aspect, but I have heard from other NIZs that they felt that when the legislation was passed and the NIZs were formulated, that they actually lost some power. So it's wonderful to hear that, in the Northeast community that, you feel and most likely others feel that they gained that advantage.
Yes.
Because some have shared that they felt that now the city has a hold on them, because anything that has to go on in the community, they'll send you to the NRZ, and the NRZ might be reflective of only one person. So
and see, that's the thing. The NRZs are comprised of everybody in that neighborhood. And if that's not so, that's because the NRZ has not done their job. But everybody in that community need to feel that they are part of that. You have to, you got your members from, stakeholders in the community, landlords, tenants, the churches, the businesses. You have to have so many representation. All of these have to be represented on your planning committee.
Right.
And if that's not so, you can't say that it took away from the authority, whatever, or what you have. That because you don't know the power that you have. I think that's the problem. It has watered down somewhere. People don't understand what the purpose of the NRZ. And if they feel that they have lost some power, it's because they did not know what to do with the power that they did have.
All right, thank you. Okay, so my next question. Okay, and you just exemplified what I'm about to say, because the reason why you're in that seat is because the NRZs are viewed as a key decision maker. We know that. And Darlene, I'm quite sure you're going to be watching this later. So I just want to make sure that I graciously put this plug in here. Darlene Robertson Childs is the Northeast NRZ president at this time. And I thank you for sharing with me that you couldn't make it because you are doing your City of Hartford work right now, but you allowed your mother to come, Miss Helen Nixon, so I'm very thankful for that. But yes, Darlene Robertson Childs is our, and I say our because I live in the Northeast community and I'm also a member of the Northeast NRZ, so thank you, Darlene. Okay, so, and the NRZs are key decision makers, and you shared that they have that power.
They have the power.
The challenge becomes, do you know you have the power, and how are you going to use that power if you have it? And if by any means you lost that power, I suggest
get it back.
You go get it back. So
that's right, because those legislations are still active today, okay? And hopefully they'll stay around because that's what's needed.
Exactly. Okay, so, and we touched on this, but I'll just read it out so that our viewers could have heard what the original question was. And the NRZs are one of the key decision-making bodies in neighborhoods around economic development and revitalization. And I was going to ask you if you could share some of the successes of this ability during your tenure, and you've shared that. And you shared about the Capon Street project, and you elaborated on the accomplishment of those projects. So, and then my next question was about the boundaries, and you shared that with us. So now here we go to my next question is that, can you share briefly what role does Hartford 2000 play in the decision making of the Northeast NRZ?
Okay, I was around also when Hartford 2000 got started. I think it was 2000. That's why it's named the 2000. Okay.
So it came 6 years after you guys were established.
What, the 2000?
You said 1994 the NRZ started up, and so if it
2000 came after that. So after all the NRZs were formed, then the Hartford 2000 was formed to be like the what you call it, the agency that, well, what I call it, agency that like overseeing the NRZs. NRZs had any kind of specific problems or whatever. This particular organization was formed to make sure we got the assistance that we needed to bring us together. So say, for instance, downtown, you got the mayor, you got that organization downtown, but they figured so NRZs wouldn't be scattered all over, one over here and one over there. There's one agency that we could sort of go through to be like a one voice for all the NRZ. That's why that was formed, okay? I know when we first got started, we hired Linda Bear. She was working with the, in fact, she was a director at that time of the Hartford 2000. And she was the one that came around to all the different neighborhoods and gave us assistance with preparing our strategic plans. And she did that with all the organizations. Thanks to you, Linda, if you're hearing it out there, okay? But that's how we really got going, doing that. Well, actually, the Hartford 2000, it's supposed to be the voice, and they want to speak in one voice for all the neighborhoods. That's what they for. So
is that possible?
One voice.
So many very different.
Yes, yes. It's not easy.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge because you're supposed to have a member, at least 2 members from each NRZ to sit on the Hartford 2000 board. And when they take that vote, it's supposed to be like with one voice. But you're always going to have challenges because one neighborhood can always feel that they not going to go along with the entire Hartford 2000. Feel that should be, but that's what that board of directors is supposed to be about. But I'm saying it's a challenge. It really is a challenge. But they've been around for a long time.
And for clarification again, Northeast NRZ started up in 1994. Did Hartford 2000 get its name because it started in the year 2000?
I'm trying to think. If I go back that far, I think that's how that name came up because we started in 2000.
Okay.
So
it took them 6 years if that's the case, but we won't put quotes on that because we're not positive.
Yeah, and you know what, Evelyn, to be sure, just to be correct, I'm trying to remember if the problem solving was in 1994 and NRZ came after the problem solving, maybe 96. Okay. I just can't.
That might be the case.
Yeah, kind of remember. That might be the case. I don't want to be exact. Okay, just to be sure.
So, if somebody wanted to know how to become a member of the Northeast NRZ, what would you tell them? And you can share with into your camera where your viewing audience is to tell them how they can get involved in the Northeast NRZ. Who would they contact, and what would be the requirements for them to be able to participate as a voting member?
Okay, if you're interested in getting involved in the Northeast NRZ, first you need to attend the meetings. They meet every third Monday at 5:30 at the Parker Memorial Center on Main Street. Okay, so every third Monday at the Parker Memorial Center on Main Street in Hartford. That's the Northeast NRZ. You can attend those meetings and you can become a voting member if you live in the Northeast neighborhood, and I just gave the boundaries, okay? If you live in it, or you can, if you're a stakeholder, like I say, you could be a landlord. You don't have to live there. You could be a business owner, or you could be a church member. A lot of churches there. Any kind of stake that you have in the Northeast, you can come and you can become a voting member, okay? And we would like for everybody in the Northeast neighborhood to come out and attend those meetings, okay? We have some good, valuable meetings. In fact, I was just told, well attended, that we are one of the largest and the best attended in the city of Hartford.
I was at the meeting when the gentleman said that.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes, so anybody who wants to become a member are welcome to come. And we do need some hard-working people because there are a lot of things that's issues and problems that we have. And we have a lots of committees that if you want to come and work on some of those committees, you can. We have the Public Safety Committee. We have the Employment Committee. We have Education Committee, Economic Development. We have Housing. We have, might be leaving out some, but there, and any other committee, and we have a membership committee. Right now, I'm the chair of that membership committee, and I need some help with that, okay? Because that's how you go out and get people to come in to be a part of it, okay? And there's lots of committees. And Evelyn, what you're doing too, you over there on Enfield Street, the organization that you have, we need more people like what you are doing to help improve our neighborhood. So what you're doing, you working in conjunction with the Northeast NRZ also. And those are the kind of issues that we need to see resolved in our neighborhood. People coming in to help improve our neighborhood, make it look better.
Exactly.
Okay, so.
Okay, so we did share that. So basically, you could also go on the Hartford 2000 website and find out how to get in touch with Darlene Robertson Childs, the president of the Northeast NRZ, and it has her phone number and her email address there, and you can be able to get in touch with her. But I would always suggest to anybody that would like to know about getting involved in your community that you certainly go and find out where your NRZ. There's different neighborhood revitalization zones for different areas, so you can go to the website at hartford2000.org, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken, and you can pull up the neighborhood that you live in and find out who your chair or your president is, and you can give them a call or send them an email and get involved. I don't want anybody to think that we don't need key decision makers in our communities at every level. We need the teenager. We need the mother with children at home. We need the school teacher, the lawyer, the doctor, even the community person. We want everybody to get involved in creating better communities for our children and future generations. Thank you for joining us on For the Greater Good with Evelyn Richardson. Thank you so much, Ms. Nixon.
And thanks for having me.